Hi, you all. This is Sierra. I want to bring you all into my world of journaling. When I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis in April 2016, at the age of 25, I felt alone. I felt afraid. Even with the support that was surrounding me, because I did not know how my future was going to look. Because at the time, I was in a really bad relapse and my symptoms were progressing quickly. It went from me falling to me having unsteady gait to me really not being able to walk within a few steps without feeling like I was going to fall. It went from that to me having a lot of plasticity, paralysis in my arms, my legs, and also, and that progressed to me having a swallowing disorder. I had difficulty eating, had difficulty swallowing, and it was a rough season for me. I want to just show you something in my journey that helped me the most, being outside in nature. This is my parents' yard, and they have a pretty large yard. And this oak tree that I'm under, I'm actually going to move this camera up. Now, you know it's the fall. This is the oak tree that I talk about in my book. And they have trees like everywhere. But this is where I found peace at. If you read my book, you can know that not only did I find peace under this tree, I found an ability that I didn't know I had, which was writing inspirational messages. When I was diagnosed, it was really hard for me to express my feelings. I was very mute, right? I just didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say. And my mother, she had started encouraging me to start writing and journaling to express how I feel so I can open up. Because there were times where I didn't even speak with my family. And it's not because I didn't want to, it's because that I was just so shocked and so devastated until it was hard for me to communicate like I needed to. I opened up. My thoughts opened up, my mind opened up, and most importantly, my heart opened up. I stopped being as closed off. And the more that I started journaling from this tree, it brought on a healing. Under this oak tree, it brought on a healing for me where I was able to say, you know what? No, I'm not feeling good today. Yes, this is going on. This is going on. And I was able to go through kind of like account my whole day. Just write down a journal, this is what happened today. I was feeling this at this time, I was feeling that. And really with the journal, and even help me in my appointments. When you go into those appointments with your doctors, they go off of science. They need to see what time did this happen, how long did it happen for, what symptoms were you experiencing. Everything that they do, they go off of science, all right? So that's a plug. So make sure you journal your symptoms. But it ended up being one of the biggest blessings of my life, because from my writings, I just started off saying, hey, I experienced this symptom today, didn't feel too good, or this is what I did. Having inspirational messages that was just dropped into my heart. With those inspirational messages, they were so good, I wanted to share it with the world. And I said, you know what? I hope that these messages will get out to the world one day. As far as encouragement, I know encouragement is maybe not talked about a lot as much as it should be. Neither is mental illness, but that's what people need to keep going. Over time, me and my mother, she was like, Sia, these are some really good messages. Why don't you start sharing these messages to the world? And me and my mom, we put our minds together and we thought of our business that we have, Timely Fountain. Now, throughout the years, we've been able to sell a few cars. And we appreciate it for everybody who supported us on that journey and what we're going to continue to do through Timely Fountain. I would say that that was a biggest blessing, because I share these stories and instances of me meeting with people that bought our cars, that bought our t-shirts, and the messages that God had put in my spirit to help other people. And I just shared in my book. I know one story I will share. I was at a flea market. A woman came and she said, my husband recently passed away, and he passed away from lung cancer. And in order to encourage him, and when he was having his treatments, I encouraged him just to breathe. It's funny how I come here today. I have my husband. That's a motorcycle, y'all. I'm not going to actually, that's a big old truck. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing for that, because this is the county. And she said, he was basically my everything. I loved him. We was married for years. We had a beautiful life, beautiful family, but unfortunately he was diagnosed with this lung cancer, just changed the trajectory of their lives. And she was saying, I told him to always breathe. And I believe now I got the confirmation that I needed to get today just by looking at this shirt and your card. It's not only breathe, it's enjoy life and breathe, because that is the slogan of our company, enjoy life and breathe. Just had a peace to come over me that my husband I was not only telling him to breathe, and he was also encouraging himself as well, to breathe, and he was active with the breathing as much as he could be. Now he's telling me to enjoy life and breathe. I feel like I can move on. And y'all, when I tell y'all that was touching, that was a very touching story. And I have a other story that I share in my book. But that was amazing, because I said to myself, I can't believe that God will have it on the most roughest days of my life. The roughest day of my life. I'm like, how is it that my time of grief and dismay would just bring me to a point where I can write something down, and then years later it impacts this woman's life, and it brought closure to move on. She just needed a sign. And I said, you know what? That's what it's about. It's about encouraging people to go through whatever stage of life they're at. We need that encouragement. So I like to say the bridge of hope. The bridge of hope that's going to bring people together through encouragement, through sharing their stories of resilience. That's what people need. When I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I don't think I was really in tune with the things I needed to be in tune with. I questioned my faith. And I would say I was mad with God, because I said, I can't believe that you put me through all this schooling and everything for me just to hit a brick wall, and for me to not have a job, for me to socially, I was closed off from people because I felt like nobody understood. And I had a sense of pride there. You all will read that in the book about the pride issue I had. It just seemed like everything everything was just coming to a brick wall for me. And I complained all the time about my life. I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied. And it got to a point where my mother, if you see us together, we are very close. I'm her youngest child. I'm the baby. I'm the baby, y'all. I really relish in that. Y'all babies, y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we get away with things, a little bit more than the older ones do. My mother, she's strong. She's a woman of God. She don't take no stuff. If you know my mother personally, you know that she's nice, but she don't take no mess. Now, I had gotten to the point where I was so bitter, angry with God, because I couldn't understand, why'd you give me this horrible illness, this horrible disease, and I'm deteriorating. I called my mother all the time at work. She was working night shift, and she still do. I called her all the time because she was like, call me if you need something, because my mother was my primary caregiver. And I complained so much about my situation and how angry I was. My mother stopped taking my calls, and that was very hurtful to me. She stopped taking my calls, and bring this down a little bit. She stopped taking my calls. And she told me, she was like, you know what, Sierra, with some of the things that you're saying, you need to really be repentant to God for the things that you're saying. You know, scriptures in the Bible, you know, say you need to be careful of the things that you're saying. You know, you either speak life or you speak death. She said, I'm not going to take any more of your calls. You need to learn to depend on God. I can't do anything for you. This is something that you got to go to God about. You have to ask him, what will he have you to do? You need to be repentant, and you need to ask him, and she said, so you can start living your purpose. Now let me tell you, my mom didn't say it like that. But I'm just paraphrasing, but that's what she meant. My mother was very hard on me. She stopped taking my calls, and anytime I complained about God or something I was unhappy with, she just turned off from me. No communication, straight face. And she would look at me with disappointment. She was like, you know what? You need to get yourself together. And I'll share a Pacific story in there when I was having my little, I'll say, meltdowns. And she was right. I needed to get myself together. I'm pretty much by myself. Like, I need to figure out what I need to do. So I just started praying more. And, you know, open up my heart. And through the prayers, it actually opened up my heart to start to want to journal. It opened up my heart. My mother was like, do you want to go outside and just take a breather and just maybe exercise a little bit? Maybe just come in the yard and she would help me off the porch because my gait was very unsteady. And me and my mother would sit under the oak tree. And in the book, I'll let you all know what we did under the oak tree to help me in my healing process. And the more my mother started seeing me journaling, opening up my heart, of course, praying, stop complaining, that's when she's drawn back into me. Some people, if you get sick, or I'm just speaking from my MS journey, they might show you tough love, right? But you know, deep down inside, they mean you very good. And because my mother showed me tough love, but she also sowed into my life, she showed me tough love. Always, always, always do what you can for yourself. Don't discredit the things. You know, you may get upset if they don't talk to you, if they don't do this, if they don't do that, if the interaction is a little off. But never discount the things that they do. Because one day, I promise you, it's going to come back full circle. And these are for the family members. You love them, y'all have a good relationship, but they show you tough love. My mother wanted me to get myself together. And I'm so glad that she did that, because it helped me to build this resilience. I pulled things out of me that I didn't even know I had in me as far as strength. It's like this deep emergence of resilience came through me. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me. What I share is what me and my mother did under this oak tree that I'm under. I'm going to show you some more of it. But in order to help me in my healing journey with journaling, and it just so happens that the same things that I journal under this tree, I wrote in my book. At the time, I didn't know I was writing a book, but God knew that I was writing a book. Don't ever discredit the bad things that happen to you, because it may be the very thing that brings you to your purpose. The situations that you feel like are setbacks. And I can specifically talk about young adults. If you are you feel like you're at your prime and you're trying to understand, well, why did this happen to me? I can't believe that this will happen at this time. It wasn't the right time. I'm too young for this. Don't think you're the only one that's going through it, because you're not. And you may not want to hear that, but it's the truth. It's something about you, though, that you were chosen for that test, because you are strong, and you was meant to share your story, and you was meant to empower people, and you was meant to sow into people's lives. You are meant for that. Everybody's not meant to have a chronic illness. Everybody's not meant to have a terminal illness. But in that season, or your journey, or a lifetime of you living with that chronic illness, okay, you don't stop sharing your story. I'm telling you, because you never know how much that will bless somebody, how much that will uplift somebody's spirit. You don't stop sharing your story. Now, I would say this: you share your story of triumph. When you share your story, leave people with hope. People need hope. People need to know that they're going to be okay. And that if you made it through all of the trials that you made it through, that they are going to make it as well. That's what gave me strength. Not only prayer, but I heard all these other stories of people living with multiple sclerosis, other illnesses, cancer. It's about sowing into people's lives. It's about serving people without expecting anything in return. If you were chosen to have that chronic illness, go on your mission. Encourage people. Everybody gonna have them times where they complain. I'm not gonna say I don't have my bad days, you all, because I do. But what I will say is that just know that a resiliency is going to be emerged if you don't stop going and if you don't quit. You have to go with whatever journey you feel like is best for you. But I know where my help comes from, and I know who gave me the courage to be an advocate and to speak out for people living with chronic illness. And it's all about the connection. But I just wanted to share those two stories with you all, just to give you some encouragement. And just to let you know, my book is gonna be coming out November. I just wanted to share those two stories with you, just so it will resonate in you. But I want to encourage you too to keep an open mind. Just know that I didn't get like this overnight, okay? I didn't get like this overnight. It took me several years to share to the public about my diagnosis. I was very bitter. And some of those stories, that's my doggy right there. Some of those stories, that's Ollie, that you gonna hear in that book, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't know that Sierra thought like that. I didn't know that she went through this and everything. And I even talk about a near-death experience that I had in grad school. Share your story. This is Sierra. I really look forward to talking more about my book. I love you all. This is Sierra. I want you to be your best self. I will see you on the next video. I'll keep you updated on all my book stuff, okay?